For Colombia, all RSUs having started late. It is just for us.
Please take your seats.
Thank you.
I'll go and call the meeting.
Okay. I think I can find the email here. I'll send you the details. If you cannot find the information, I will ask you to send it.
Nate, please.
Can we quickly go back to direct ratings? Direct ratings, this is a pretty minor point. Of course, the World Amateur still seems to give direct ratings. Would anyone complain if we just got rid of that, which Stuart tells me has been passed before but didn't happen?
The Events Commission is advertising it.
What?
Perfectly true. You can't take the word of the Events Commission about these things.
Isn't that the Events Commission right there?
Oh yes, he knew I was teasing him.
Sorry?
Oh dear, I thought this was going to be simple.
The World Amateur Championship gives ratings to certain people. It was agreed years ago to get rid of that out-of-date regulation, and it's never been taken off the regulation. That's all.
But a long time ago was, during Chess Olympiad, somebody who scored 50% got 2050.
Yes, we know that.
Yes, the one we
But
got
this-
is on this.
But this is the last. This is the last one left. We'll come to this in the precise wording anyway, but just a warning that there is a move to get rid of this one anomaly. And I'm glad I asked if anybody objected, because I wouldn't have known about the literature.
When is the next World Amateur? Do we know?
Next spring?
Next spring in Romania.
Then they will
We're
get it.
giving enough advance notice to say it's no longer.
Oh, you mean even for
Next spring?
right? But this is a change to the regulations.
Which
Isn't it?
regulation?
No, it isn't. It's enforcing a change that has been introduced before.
Oh, we've been down that road. It's dangerous.
Ashok, you want to say something?
No. Give title only. Wait.
We give titles.
Yeah, I know. But it's
Can you recall when you decided to stop this? Can you remember?
I'm getting too old to remember.
Okay, we will
I think
write
it's
to...
necessary to
The regulations in the handbook mention that this is awarded, and we awarded this year
Oh yes.
the rating. It was a Greek player who had this privilege.
And which handbook?
The one on the web.
On the web.
I'll find the exact place right now.
All right.
Oh, we know it's there.
And we know it's
Where
there.
is it?
Okay, the
In
website.
which
I'll
regulation?
find it.
In which regulation?
In the
Tournament regulation of amateur.
No. Yes, tournament regulation of amateur.
Yeah.
It's
Okay, we'll
But
come
not
back
in
to
rating
that.
regulation.
No, I don't think it's a problem. I think we will say that the Romanian one is the last one.
Yeah.
Because the following year is Singapore and we can get rid of that.
Yeah.
All right?
All right.
Good. And
We finished the procedure.
another small thing that we overlooked, the question, arbiters playing in the tournament we've dealt with, arbiters who are operating from a distance, they're not at the tournament, they're nowhere near it, they're on the end of a telephone. Is that acceptable for a title tournament? I assume no.
it's against the regulation.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yes, arbiters supervising the tournament.
The term supervising is loose though.
It also applies to rated tournaments.
Yes.
So this is my point. For title tournaments, it does happen, and
What happens?
that there is no arbiter near the tournament hall.
Title.
Yes, we've argued about them.
Yes, it is still allowed.
No, super
No.
arbiter is no more allowed.
We removed it from the regulations. It used to say you had to be, it was very loose. Then you had to have at least a supervisory arbiter. And when the FIDE arbiters, there were far more of them, the problem vanished. And so it was, there had to be a FIDE arbiter or international arbiter in charge of the tournament. But what
I think your question is when the players are playing, there is no arbiter.
What does in charge mean? I mean, anyway,
It has to be present in the
Okay,
play
Sevan.
venue.
Sevan.
well, that's what I think, but it's not what everyone thinks.
Sevan.
Title norm tournament, they need to be on site.
Yes.
That's just period, end of paragraph. There should be absolutely no question about that.
Yeah.
Your name?
Yeah. In Finland, well, I'm on the
Walter. Your name?
Yeah. In Finland we have the team league, which is played in several cities around Finland. And that's a problem because the teams are playing against each other with almost no other persons there. We have a telephone arbiter available.
Is it a title norm tournament?
It is a title sports.
I think so.
143B. 143B.
Well, we have an example. Is that acceptable? I don't know the answer.
I don't think so.
I agree.
Because nobody is on site to give the arbiter and distance correct information. He's depending on what he gets with that. He has no personal view of that. I think that should not be acceptable.
Yep.
Yeah, I disagree with Christian's comment because this would kill a lot of national team competitions all over the world.
Yeah.
And I think that these national team competitions, they are also provided by national tournament director, and there is enough social control.
That's Christian.
In Germany, we have the overall chief arbiter, is the Kohlstelle. But each match has an arbiter on site. Otherwise, it will not be rated. We had much trouble in Germany because we canceled some rating of leagues. So now it is.
You know, I think we cannot avoid exceptions, and we cannot put all the exceptions to prepare special article for this. You know, we must take there is qualification commission, there is secretary and chairman can decide in any doubt situation, and so we cannot solve all exceptions around the world. You know, like finish this tournament, like in Germany, in Poland, and some other countries, South America. You know, can be a lot of exceptions, a lot of different situations, and we have introduction to our laws of chess. We have decision of the secretary and qualification and chairman of qualification commission in such a cases. But we are not able to prepare for everything rules and regulations.
For title purposes, this is usually not an international tournament. It's under the 143B exception, national league tournaments. I believe that we cannot remove all the freedom of a national federation to deal with what happened inside their country. Perhaps we can have a deadline for some points, like the chief arbiter, or for example, like the time control, but we cannot control everything.
A FIDE title norm is a FIDE title norm. That's not within the purview of the national federation there. It's a FIDE guideline. There should be a FIDE-based arbiter or international arbiter there on site to supervise.
was it actually
Christian.
I think this rule in Germany helped us to develop arbiters. And if we stress that the nations stress it, and they want to have independent arbiters on the team competitions, they will have better arbiters all over the country. We made the experience in Germany with that.
Would you like me to read out what the regulation says?
Yes, if you raise your hand, I will let you read it. Yes.
What 1.17 says is the tournament shall be conducted by an international arbiter or by a FIDE arbiter. I've never thought about it, and I thought it required an arbiter, one of those two, to be present. But the word conducted, now, yeah, I also thought that. And I don't know what we actually meant when we wrote that regulation.
Don't I know it? Do not clarify this.
I think there are pros and cons, and there has been practices.
Not many other people. I think you're right.
Can we have a show of hands to retain the practice?
Yes. Which practice?
That the arbiter
Just
named
existing.
offside.
Just existing.
We don't know.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, we don't know what is the
Keep
practice.
on not knowing.
Yeah.
All right, arbiter on, not necessarily arbiter on site or what?
I think arbiter on site.
Okay, arbiter must be on site. Raise your hand. Title tournaments I'm talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Not on site. 4, 5, okay, 6.
I wanted to know how people were voting.
Just exceptions.
So you're not voting at all?
Yes, that's what I wanted.
That's all we're asking.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So we retain what we have.
You haven't gone for the
Which is
commission
what?
members yet. This is where the vote of commission members is. I'll now vote.
What?
I wanted the view of the whole meeting. It's the commission members who vote.
Why don't we pass the responsibility of this to the arbiters?
Yeah.
No.
What the arbiters
Well,
decide?
it's in our regulations. We could take it out, but it's not suggested.
When we have a report of a tournament, we only see the chief arbiter on top of it. And this is the only person that we check if he's able to do it. We already have the problem with the German Federation that we're going to discuss sooner or later. They're not talking about the chief arbiter. They're talking on-site arbiter conducting the game between two teams, between 4 boards or 5 boards, or how many they have in Finland. It's a completely different story regarding our titles. We cannot expand our search whenever we have 100 applications, even to these, or say conditional info instead of yes or no, and request more information and more information. We become an interrogating service here. That's why I request that we allow the federation to conduct their own league championship as they wish, and only provide some very important red lines on top of it.
That's why I'm recommending not to change the regulation.
Yes.
Just to leave it as it is with exceptions.
You should have a vote by the commission. I don't understand.
I'm happy with all who are interested here to attend. We have already done some voting on other issues.
But they don't have a vote. They can offer a view, which is very valuable. There's not a vote.
Okay, at your request, Steven's request, can I have a vote by commission members to keep the regulations with the exceptions? Commission members. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, okay.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Now it's been So does this mean we're drafting some exceptions now? Well, not now, but...
For the next session.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, or some other time, but
Yeah.
there will be
Right.
exceptions.
Ignatius,
Okay.
can you explain when you say that we're keeping it as it is? Does that mean arbiters on site, or doesn't have to be on site?
The practice.
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 Practice
I
of
don't know
what?
what is the practice
That's
in
the-
your federation.
That's the problem.
Alright, good. Yes.
Such
Why
an
you want
excep-
this?
such an exception is only for national leagues.
That is a very
Okay.
good point.
Savannah.
Yes.
The chief
Do not
arbiter.
clarify details.
Okay.
These are the tight regulations.
Chalice. Go on.
These are the tight regulations. The chief arbiter is the one who signs the norm.
Yeah.
If the norm is signed by the chief arbiter, we have to accept it that all the data on it are correct. We do not have a regulation to say, to force the arbiter to give the correct data or to have checked if the tournament was played correctly. We just check the result. All the rest of it is the responsibility of the federation, of the arbiter. We are above it.
Faye, your Faye.
We
Okay.
cannot go so deeply into it.
We'll have to agree to disagree on that one, because that's just going to be wrought with fraud.
Okay.
Okay.
Go on, Nick.
Well, it's true, the problems we have had have been from that federation, so he knows what he's talking about.
The United States.
Yes.
They don't have
Go on,
that.
Nick.
Okay, laws to, we have a regulation for rated tournaments saying the FIDE laws must be followed. Traditionally, this has not been enforced. There have been discussions with the United States about enforcing it and how they would feel. Now, Stuart, is this something you have an update on?
We made a decision, did we not, that from the 1st of July 2013, it would be completely enforced, the FIDE rating. In advance of that, the USCF have only used the FIDE laws of chess for title tournaments, and the new laws of chess being discussed, which won't take effect until 1 July 2013. Various accommodations are being considered, which will eventually be decided upon by the General Assembly.
Okay, so the process
It is
continues.
in process. We don't have to do
Good.
anything.
Thank you. Next.
Right, reporting of long events, for instance, leagues that last 6 months. Again, if I give my own view, I'm continually puzzled. We have monthly rating lists, but I play a game in November and it gets reported the following May. At the moment, for titles and ratings, though we're talking about ratings now, the league has the option of how to send them in. I suggest that they don't get the option, that they are told to send them in round by round or something similar. But this is controversial. I know there's another view. What do people think?
Do we have the data
Comments?
on the different ways
Stuart.
in which leagues are put in?
Are you asking?
I'm asking directly.
Yeah, please.
Excuse me, could you repeat?
You see?
There are 2 ways of doing it. Do we have the data on the proportion of the different 2 ways?
Actually, leagues are reported very different. I mean, not only 2 ways, but sometimes they have played some kind of, even the same countries do not send it the same way each year. So I don't have proportions by this time. But, the thing is, my main concern here is that if league is reported, if one round of league which was played in November is reported in May, or something like it's done now sometimes, they will fall into this rule that they're late, or something like that. So because dates will be different and so on. What dates should they submit? and they submit, so they should submit round by round each month, but it's not done yet. Nobody does it.
Christian.
I have a proposal for a compromise. The German tournaments start in October and will be reported end of April. But in the line 132, the data of the rounds are given, the dates of the rounds are given. So it may be possible to rate it with the ratings valid for the date of the round. The date of the round is given. I will take care of that. So you can rate it, but you get it end of April. But you can use the dates of the rounds for calculating the data due to the ratings valid at the time of the round.
Yes, we can do it, but there is a big part of tournaments coming from federations without round data.
No,
Still,
we have to. Then we
there should be some
press them to do that.
Data.
If we agree on this, we can write it yes, or based on the data from.
Nick?
So, first question, do we continue to give leagues the choice of what they do, or do we tell them what to do?
Comments?
Let's look
Stewart?
at it.
I suggest we go for rating month by month, just like every other event, and therefore the titles also be evaluated, the rating at the time they played the game. The problem is not with the titles. The problem is the unrated players and how you bring those games all together for the purpose of the
Within the 9.
rating of unrated players.
Vichalis, you know something?
I studied the norms we have from team league tournaments. France reports round per round. Germany reports all the tournament together. Netherlands reports round per round. Poland reports round per round. Austria reports all the tournament together. Also Hungary, 16. What else? Also Serbia, also Slovakia.
Also means what? Together.
All together. The problem for me is to confirm ratings and titles. So from my point of view, I really don't care what is the choice, but I want to be able to confirm ratings and titles when I check the norms. And this is very difficult because we have not implemented yet a tool to combine a tournament that is submitted in different periods to make the norm check. This is the problem. So I have to do it manually, and sometimes it takes a lot of time when it comes from a team league tournament.
I think from the statistic that Michali
I really don't know.
call up is a balance of almost 50 to 50.
Yes, but I would prefer round per round because in this case the titles are also updated. And we already have this case from the Netherlands for Istanbul, that we have the Netherlands team league in round, in period per period report, and we have this opponent, which is Mr. Bruyers, I cannot spell the name correctly, who became a grandmaster after March, and his game started beginning of March. The applicant had only 3 GMs as opponent. He gets the norm with 3 GMs, just only because when he played with Mr. Bruyers, he was a GM. If this league was reported in one piece, then we should accept that Mr. Bruyers was not an international, was not a grandmaster, even if he really was when he played the game, because we would be forced to use the titles at the beginning of the league, before the first round. So I really prefer that the leagues are reported period per period.
Right.
Just one question for my own benefit, I guess. Does reporting round per round or month by month means that They're going to be rated at that time?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Christian?
I don't see the difference. If you get the league in one, you can calculate it round by round, and then you can see that if the title depends on the achieved rating.
Yes, it takes me a lot of time.
But the problem is that you get different types of tournament reports. I think it's easier to convince all the federations to send it all together and to do it round by round in a lista than to convince the federations to do it round by round. But it is much more work to put it aside and then to put it together again. You get one tournament, Bundesliga, 15 rounds.
Yes.
So, if it's one tournament, you can split it whatever you want, however you want.
Your Bundesliga has among the strongest players of the world. Make a survey if they really want to have 15 games rated months after they played it. The strongest players of the world. I think that they don't like that.
No,
now that we have a monthly rating list. That's my opinion.
Last comment, anybody? Yep.
The main problem is indeed, it's not these top players, it's for me obvious they would like to have eventually round by round, or as played in Germany, weekend by weekend calculations. The problem is these unrated players at the start of the competition that would like to have a rating.
Yes, this is
the problem.
But that's the problem we've made for ourselves. We can fix it as easily as we made it.
Sorry?
So your recommendation?
It's a 9 game.
It's in some countries it's 11 rounds, going up to 15 rounds. You have to take into account if you have 15 different files, all these players will have different starting numbers. So it's not that easy because you have to really merge all these unrated players who then that's going to be not that clear. There will be a lot of errors happening in there.
Okay, if we're on technical problems, then we
Technical
are.
problems will be a lot of errors.
That's why we left it
Can be so.
to the leagues.
Vladimir, whichever we go is okay with your...
Yes, we can meet both requirements, but for me it's also, I think, from the point of view of accurateness of games and so on, if they report round by round, they receive more or less live rating, every month. And if he played this in Germany with top players and so on, he gets to top. He would like to see the result this month, not to wait for the half a year. Though reporting once, for us it's much easier, less work and much more clear to see new players.
I think there is not it's not life and death sort of situation. Let's continue for the next years and see what we can better improve. I mean, continue to keep it.
Well, as Stuart says, it is 4 years.
Yes, 4 years.
And, well, but we were saying this 4 years ago.
No, 4 years ago.
Can we up the meaning of the majority?
We gave them the choice.
To continue with the choice or to have it?
Keep the regulation in favor. Anyone can comment, all right? Anyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Not in favor. 3, 4. Okay, commission.
What was the voting?
9-4. To keep
The same system.
the same system.
Right.
Now you want to go to commission?
Yes.
Those who are in the commission and who prefers to keep what it is now, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3.
I'm not sure that Andre understands.
To keep. 4. Against. To change.
To keep it, yes. And then change.
Yeah. 1,
Change
2.
the monthly.
Monthly.
Or something principle.
Round by round monthly.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Submit within the week.
Yes,
So,
yes.
4 in
What was
favor.
it?
those who want to keep
The
to
score.
the score and report in one go. Please raise your hand, commission members.
You what?
To keep
What
it
is
as it is now.
This
Good
now
format.
you have a choice now.
They
No,
have the
choice
choice.
now, yes.
Yeah.
Keep the choice
Keep
now.
the choice.
1, 2, 3, 3. To go to monthly reporting.
Oh, you're doing this again.
Yes.